The Forgotten Dollmaker. When we first moved into the old Victorian house on the edge of Whitby, I thought it was a dream come true. The high ceilings, ornate woodwork, and stained glass windows made it seem like we had stepped into a fairy tale. My wife, Rose, and I imagined our children, Emma and Tommy, growing up in a place rich with history and charm. The first few weeks were a blur of unpacking and settling in. It wasn't until a month later, while playing hide and seek, that Emma discovered the hidden room. She had been searching for the perfect hiding spot when she stumbled upon a loose panel in the attic. Curiosity piqued, she pushed the panel aside and found a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. "Mom! Dad! Come see this!" Emma's voice echoed through the attic, pulling us from our tasks. We gathered around, peering into the hidden passageway. Armed with flashlights, we descended the creaky stairs, our beams cutting through years of accumulated dust and cobwebs. At the bottom, we found a door. It opened with a groan, revealing a room filled with hundreds of dolls. The dolls were arranged neatly on shelves lining the walls. Each one was intricately crafted, their expressions eerily lifelike. Some wore elaborate dresses, others simple clothes, but all had eyes that seemed to follow us as we moved. "Wow," Tommy whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. "This is so cool." The children were immediately enamored with the dolls, spending hours in the hidden room. They gave each doll a name, creating elaborate stories and games. It wasn't long, however, before we started noticing strange things. At first, it was subtle. A doll's head turned slightly, an arm repositioned. Then, the movements became more pronounced. Dolls would be found in different places from where they had been left, their eyes always watching. One evening, as I tucked Emma into bed, she asked, "Daddy, do you think the dolls are real?" "Of course not, sweetie. They're just toys," I replied, kissing her forehead. But I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that had settled in my stomach. One night, unable to sleep, I decided to check on the children. As I passed the hidden room, I heard a faint whispering. I slowly opened the door, and my flashlight beam revealed the dolls, their eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. I could have sworn they were breathing, their tiny chests rising and falling ever so slightly. The next morning, the town was abuzz with news of another person gone missing, the fourth in a series of unexplained disappearances. Emma and Tommy looked at each other, their faces pale. They had seen a new doll in the room just yesterday, one that bore an uncanny resemblance to the missing person. "Dad, we have to get rid of the dolls. They're not normal," Emma pleaded, her voice shaking. At first, I dismissed their fears, but as the days passed, strange occurrences escalated. Whispered voices in the night, objects moving on their own, and the constant, unnerving feeling of being watched. Desperate, we began researching the house's history. We discovered that it had once belonged to a dollmaker named Elias Weatherby. Renowned for his lifelike creations, Elias had vanished mysteriously over a century ago. Legend had it that he dabbled in dark arts, seeking to imbue his dolls with the essence of living souls. Frantic, we decided to leave the house. As we packed, the dolls grew more active, their movements more brazen. One evening, as we were about to leave, the door to the hidden room slammed shut, trapping Emma inside. She screamed, pounding on the door as the dolls began to move towards her, their tiny hands reaching out. We fought to open the door, finally breaking it down. What we found inside made my blood run cold. Emma was gone. In her place stood a new doll, her features perfectly mimicking my daughter's, her eyes wide with silent terror. The doll was surrounded by the other dolls, who now bore the visages of every missing person from the town's history. We gathered the dolls, except Emma, carrying them to the backyard and dousing them in gasoline. As we set the dolls ablaze, a horrendous scream echoed through the air, and the house shuddered violently. The dolls writhed in the flames, their expressions twisting in agony before they melted into charred remnants. We left Whitby that night, our hearts shattered and our family forever changed. We gathered what little courage we had left and took Emma's doll with us as if she was still our living daughter. We clung to the desperate hope that somewhere, somehow, we could find a way to bring her back to life. Every night, as we settled into our new temporary homes, we placed Emma's doll by the window, her wide eyes staring out as if waiting for a miracle. Though her porcelain skin was cold and her voice forever silenced, we refused to let go of the belief that one day we could undo the curse and reunite our family. The old Victorian house still stands, silent and foreboding, a monument to the dark legacy of Elias Weatherby. And though the dolls, except Emma, are gone, whispers persist among the townsfolk. They say that on certain nights, if you listen closely, you can hear the faint cries of the forgotten souls, forever trapped in their porcelain prisons. And I know, somewhere among those whispers, I can hear the voice of my dear Emma, calling out to me from the darkness. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Also, share what stories you would like to hear next.